Hey everyone, Happy New Year. Welcome back to ADP. We are so glad that you're joining us for this special guest episode. I don't know if that's really a special episode, but boy, do we have some bomb news stories this week. Probably shouldn't have
100%.
led with bomb, but
Definitely have some bomb news story. It is kind of a special episode. I mean, it is like our second anniversary of ADP. Like this is year number 2 of doing this and talking to people, mostly ourselves, but talking to people and the other, 3 or 4 people that tune in every week. That includes RobFuz, who has joined us tonight.
Yeah. Hey guys, happy anniversary. Yeah, it's so funny. I guess every beginning of a year is your anniversary. So that's awesome.
I know. Yeah. We started January 1st, 2 days ago. 2 days ago. We got almost 100 episodes. We worked really hard.
We did that because we're old and we needed an easy way to remember it. So like if our anniversary was like June the 3rd, like who remembers June the 3rd?
Well, I would, because our anniversary is June 2nd. So if I can't remember the day after, I'm in trouble.
That's awesome.
Or really the day before. Well, whatever. Yeah. And Rob, thanks for coming on with us. Wow, that was really good. We'll talk about that drinking event. That was really good. Okay. Second anniversary, 2 years. Guys, in all seriousness, thanks if you've been on this journey with us the whole time. If you haven't, thanks for jumping into the deep end of the pool and just going with it. RobFuz is back. Rob, thank you, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you for your support and everything. You're awesome. You always support me too. So I love supporting you guys. So it's good to be back. And again,
when you reached out and said, "Hey, man, like anytime you want to come on," I was like, "Yes, please, yes, all the time."
Every week. You want to just be the third member, Rob?
That's right.
You never know.
The trifecta. Okay, man, there's so much news. I really just want to jump in, but Rob, I want to take the time to really talk about, like, it's been a long time since I've been to a Disney park. As a matter of fact, it was literally the first day of the 50th anniversary. And I have not been back since. And even though you're the king of retro, because you've gone a couple of times in the past couple of years, you have got some updated videos on your channel. And like, I know you've been on here a few times, but please introduce yourself, share with people what you do, and I'll tell you how you've been so instrumental to our family as our long gap of going to Disney, and you've helped fill those gaps for us. So tell us who you are, what you do.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. It's RobFuz, RobFuz. Go check it out. I do a lot of, my YouTube as a kid was recording on VHS tapes, big old clunky VH tapes. And throughout the years, I had different camcorders and stuff. And I have a TV background like Dave. And I just love filming stuff. I just always fantasize about maybe one day I'll get a job and I'll be recording down here in Disney World. But I just recorded all the rides, and I've been a couple different milestones over the years and everything. And I love sharing it with the world. So I do theme park retro kind of videos. And, now it's kind of funny. I fell in love with trying to do like 4K videos and stuff like that. And total opposite spectrum. And I've been trying to, I was lucky enough to go down 4 or 5 times last year to Florida. And I just keep churning those out too. So, and Dave is a big supporter of my channel, and I use some of his videos too. So I appreciate it when Dave lets me use his too. So check it out, RobFuz. Yeah, thank you so much. It's so funny because the last 3 times I went to the Magic Kingdom, Splash Mountain was not open. So I do use your video all the time, and I couldn't say properly goodbye. We're talking like 2015, 2017, last year, like I didn't get to see it. So, but I do use your video. So thank you so much.
It's probably good that you get to remember it in it like its heyday, because everything I've heard from like people who've been on it like recently is like they're really throwing in the towel, right? Like animatronics are broken and animatronics are missing. It's like half or a quarter of the real Splash Mountain now. So I'm kind of debating on whether or not to go try to jump on it one more time. Like, am I going to buy Genie Plus to get on it one more time, being that it's my favorite attraction?
You have to.
But I want to remember it like it's like, you go see like a family member that used to be like young and vibrant. You don't want to see them all like broken down. That's kind of how I feel about Splash Mountain, but there's that sentimental piece tugging at me. So I might have to spend the $20 or whatever it is for one.
Do it.
2.
Okay.
You're in the video Dave shot. So every time I watch it, I see you Brandon, every time. So.
Did you get my permission to put me in that
Poor
video,
guy.
Dave?
Of course I
course
did
not.
not.
Too funny.
Well, Rob, I was
I love
not
your show.
kidding when I said that this big gap. This is one of the longest gaps since this Disney fandom. Like even when the Palms didn't live there, like we would go like at least once a year or something.
Yeah.
And so this has been a huge gap for us. And like your channel definitely helps fill that and make it feel like more like home. And of course, like I still love seeing all the old stuff. Speaking of the old stuff, Horizons this week just celebrated their it closed like January something of 1999. So it just reached its however many years that is of being closed. So
yeah.
Not a fun anniversary, but it was an anniversary.
I have 4 versions of Horizons, so I put them all together and I just tweeted out, hey, let's celebrate the closing of Horizons.
Yeah. Again.
I saw someone had on Twitter, they had like the Horizons demolition party hat or something like that. I'm like, what is that? I might have to get that. I don't know.
Wow.
That's legit, man.
It's legit. It's like a demise though. Like it's like
I know. It's probably on eBay. Everything's on eBay.
like Brandon said, it's like, let's just leave the memories there. And it's like
That's right.
seeing someone grow old or whatever.
That's right.
Oh man. Well,
yeah.
Thanks. I say we jump in.
Yeah, let's do
And
it.
really, there's nothing special that I thought like topic wise we could talk about because like I said, the amazing amount of news that has dropped in the last, 72 hours or so, a little bit longer than that. So we are just going to focus on brews and news. And this week, Brandon, what are you partaking in for your adult beverage?
I think last time I did this too, but I went cheap again. Like having a kid is like so expensive and like formula's like gold. So like I can only afford Bud Light. Like the fancy IPAs and stuff that cost too much. So I'm going straight aluminum can, like college style Bud Light lager. Is it a lager? I don't even know. I think it's a lager. Yeah.
I'm going to see you in February. I'm going to bring you a gift card for IPAs. I don't know if that's a thing, but I'll print it out and be like, gift card from Dave, your choice of IPAs, $50 worth. Here you go.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
What about you, Rob? What are you throwing down?
So, I might have had this last time too, but it's actually kind of local to me. Maybe it's like a 3-hour drive, but Yingling lager. Here it is right here.
I do love Yingling.
I love me some Yingling.
I did go to the brewery. It's an amazing brewery. They're just old school. And I went like 20 years ago, but they used to buy like old kegs and they used to have the vat in the mountain where it was like a certain temperature and everything. And I actually got to meet Dick Yingling, which was awesome. So
oh my gosh.
Sat at the bar and everything. So he's poured me a drink. So it's just pretty cool. Nice. I used to work for a beer distributor. So I used to get all the free Yingling I wanted. But not
I do love me some Yingling. That stuff
it's not bad.
That stuff is good.
It's great with chicken wings. It's my beer of choice for chicken wings. Yes.
Listen to that sound.
If you're listening to headphones, I hope you heard that. So.
Yes. Okay. So I went with localish, the Swilled Dog. It is their winter ale. It's kind of light and peary, not like pairing of things, but pear.
Like the fruit.
Wait, hold that up again.
There you go.
If you're watching the video,
let me see that again. Hold that up.
Well, I love their little logo. They're out of West Virginia, so they're not too far. There's always like this fun little dog that's playing, and this is their winter. I found them somewhere, and I really got them for their Oktoberfest stuff because the can was like was just a really cool looking can. It was like all fall with like leaves falling down and the dog playing. I was like, great. And then I was like, oh, they're kind of localish. So yeah, somewhere in West Virginia. I don't know. My half of my family's from there, half of Kim's family's from there. So it's kind of like home. Sure.
It's like home. Yeah. I agree. Home. It's like home. Cheers.
Okay. There's the drink.
Cheers. Happy anniversary, guys. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. I don't have any cheering, so I don't. Here we go.
Yay!
Happy anniversary. Perfect. Okay. I guess we should start off with the 50th is officially ending after 17 years.
Did you ever start? I'm just sorry.
I'm not sure. I don't. They haven't had any kind of opening ceremony, so I'm not sure that it has yet.
I'm just kidding. Sorry.
If we were media, we could have gone to the opening ceremony, which was like the day before. And then when we got there, the fanfare was like, "Here's a free poster when you leave." Remember how weird that was?
Going
And it
from the
was
beginning of the
nothing?
anniversary. It was so amazing. You guys came on one of my shows. And
Yeah.
you guys were awesome. I was so happy for you guys, and then I don't know.
And then I never went back.
And then it was so disappointing that Dave stopped going to Disney altogether.
That was not the intent. So yes, March 31st is their last day. But because of that, I was cautiously optimistic, hopeful anticipation. What are some great like adjectives that like we would get some fun, cool announcements.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
this week we did. We got
we did indeed
a lot, and some Disney World specific stuff, some Disneyland specific stuff that I didn't really put in the notes because we don't go to Disneyland. We really focus on Disney World. Not that but there's some good changes either way. But I guess we'll kick off with our favorite pun. And Brandon, Tron Light Cycle Run is officially going to open April 4th of 2023.
I saw this news come out and it said like opening, and I fell out of my chair. I literally fell out of my chair. But yes, April the 4th of this year only. And I think this means that, like, Dave, I think we will officially have to retire our Tron Light Cycle Run build countdown. So by the time it opens,
here we go,
on April the 4th, it will have taken 1,875 days.
Is that real?
That is. It was. They broke ground on February 14th, 2018. And it opens April 4th, 2023. I was joking with Dave on the way. I was like, the royal family has had 14 children in the time that it's taken Tron to be built. But yes, 1,875 days, our countdown will end.
Okay, let's zoom out on this a little bit. One, I know we have jokingly said this multiple times, but I will ask just to make sure that I haven't dreamed this all up. This is a ride that they actually already have the footprint for because they've made it somewhere else, right?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. 1,875 days?
1,875.
Roger. Okay. Two, we talked about this pre-show. Brandon, I was like, the first thing I said when this opened, because you talked about our countdown, 1,800 plus days, almost 1,900 days. And I began to immediately think, I was like, well, how long was the train closed? And then you said, when you guys moved to Florida, the train wasn't open then.
Yeah.
And that's been like 10 years, right?
Yeah, it seems like it's 10 years. We moved here July of 2018 and the train was closed. So until the train opened 3 weeks ago or whatever that was right before the holidays, the train had never been open. And that seemed like it was like closed for 25 years. And Tron still took longer than that.
I cannot process that.
I cannot.
Holy cow. And the comedy of it all, the comedy error in mind thing is like, I don't know if this was said. I'd have to go back and watch like all of the 50th anniversary announcements early on, but I'm pretty sure it was the Walt Disney Company's original intention to open Tron. It would coincide with the launch of the 50th anniversary, and they're going to miss it by like 4 days. Why didn't they just have it open the day before so they could say, shoo, we did it.
We did it.
It's so funny to me. Rob, what do you think? I know we had a pandemic in there, all joking aside. What do you think I know that these rides go through extensive testing, but it's hard for me to process, Rob, just the simple fact that this was not something that they had to dream up and build like everything else. And it seemed to take long. Now, I'm sure a lot of this had to do with getting supplies and parts and things needed, I'm sure. But what do you think is something that maybe we're overlooking that could have been a part of why it took so long?
I don't know. When it came out in Shanghai, right? Shanghai is the and when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, that ride looks incredible. I loved Tron as a kid. It looked incredible. It was always my dream to go on that. My dream was to go on it, but that and Ratatouille, those two rides in a million years, I didn't think I was going to be able to ride those rides ever. And then just the cool thing is they brought them both over. But I don't know, like that. I know you guys talked about it last time, your last show with the train, but they are kind of, it does kind of go through it and everything. And
yeah, that's a unique aspect.
I don't know. It just blows my mind that it took that long. So, oh, by the way, they are advertising that come for they're really pushing the 50th anniversary on like the commercials and everything. I'm like, what do you get? Like if you go to between now and like April, like you get nothing.
Nothing.
Like, it's not, like it's like such a gimmick at this point.
It
It's
is.
sad. I love Disney. I love the whole. I went to the 20th anniversary. I think I went to the 25th anniversary.
Birthday cake.
I love Eddie's celebrate. Yeah, the birthday cake. I love the celebrations and stuff. But man, and look, the pandemic and everything really didn't help and everything. But
Yeah,
man, it did take a big beating and everything. So
Yeah.
it's just sad. it's so funny that it like literally it's such a tease like a couple days after.
Yeah, it's baffling. Like it just every time I see it, whether I'm on the People Mover or we're walking by over there by the Speedway, or and Matthew and I went on the train when he was here visiting between Christmas and New Year, and like it is cool. Like the train goes through the tunnel, and then there's little windows that peek out into the courtyard of Tron. So it's very like there's nice plants.
Were they
flowers.
open or they were covered?
They were open. Like you could see
cool.
into the courtyard of Tron when we went through. So it was super awesome. But like it didn't take 5 years to build a tunnel. Like what have they been doing? So I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see how the cast the cast member previews, because I got a lot of cast member friends, and for some of the rides you can bring guests. Some
you'll be on that ride in March. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully I'll be able to get on at a cast preview or a pass holder preview. I did get a reservation for the 4th, obviously before it's sold out, because obviously now it's completely sold out. So
wow, that's awesome.
One way or another, I'm getting on that ride by the 4th of April.
I can't wait to see that whole area too. Like it's just kind of like you look on a map, like an overview map and everything too, and it's just kind of like what's back? Like what are they going to even put back there? I think they're like that gift shops there, and then it goes into that court area too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. My only number one gripe with that ride is, Shanghai I think has space limitations, but this is like an exact carbon copy of that ride. And I actually watched the ride today, like on YouTube or yesterday. I was just it was popping up on feeds and everything, and it's kind of short. I'm gonna complain already. Like they have all that land over there. Like they could have did whatever. You know what I mean? So that I could have understood if they made it a longer, bigger experience. Then look, it's different than the other ride and everything, but it's a carbon copy, right? So
kind of interesting. And then alongside of that, which, obviously everybody's either excited or they're still laughing and bashing. And I mean, I read tons of them. They're like, great, you're going to wait in 6 hours and the first couple of days. And I was like, well, it's probably going to be a virtual queue, which I think it is. But either way, they're like, and we'll figure out how many times it's actually open versus breaking down. I'm like, no, Disney gets no break. No one gives them a break. Like, like, guess what? Things break down. It's like, I promise you they aren't doing it on purpose, but I get the hammering. As of lately, I felt like Disney has kind of deserved it. But the tide seems to be turning. Now, alongside of this, what's kind of been not really on the radar, and I'm sure it'll be talked about more when people begin to experience it, and that is, this is the first time in any U.S. Disney park that they will require mandatory lockers for the attraction. So Brandon and I have been on, well, you probably seen it, Rob, at Universal. I know Velocity Coaster has it. We have a ride at King's Dominion that has it, and so I think it's going to be
like
smooth.
4 rides with restrictions. I think Harry Potter, the Hagrid's, the Velocicoaster, a lot of them do. So you got to remember too. God, I'm sorry, Dave. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. I was just saying that, like, that's going to be a new thing for people in the park. They're used to Disney is probably the best park about bring all your crap on the ride with you. Like, and so that's one of the things I've always loved. But I get like this ride goes over people walking. It's a different experience. If you think about all the other major attractions at Walt Disney, where they're kind of off, Everest doesn't have people hanging around. Like even when you come down the main drop and spin around, like there's no people there. And Splash and Space, they're enclosed in their own building, so there's not people. So I think it's going to be a different experience. I think it makes the line, the queue, a little more exciting. Like it builds the anticipation for the ride. Like you can see the ride going by, so you're like, man, I can't wait to get on that. But it is going to be interesting, and I see humans at Disney who can't figure out how to do things right. So it's going to be interesting to me
to see how they do with
Yeah.
figuring out a locker system before they can get on a ride. Because there's people at Disney who don't know how to carry their Casey's Corner hot dog to the table. So it's going to be very interesting to see. But you know, when we went on the Velocicoaster at Universal, like it's pretty seamless. They got the system down. Like you get to the lockers, you go to the screen, you push the button, it gives you your thing, you throw it in there, and you go around the corner and get, you know, through a metal detector and get on the ride.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's pretty streamlined, but it's going to be a learning process for people for sure.
And I know that I've seen a lot of questions pop up. They haven't announced it, but I'm sure it will be free. They will not be like your Busch Gardens that charges you for your locker for everything that you need to do. So yeah, gotta be kind of different. So kind of a twofer of new experiences.
I would
coming
question that if they were free or not, but not now. So
yeah,
under different management.
Yeah, touche.
Now, I got a question. I just literally thought of this while we're talking. It's a stupid question. I don't know. Is this ride weather permitting? Like if there's like rain, is it closed? I know it's undercover, but
that's a good question.
That is a good question.
Wonder, like monsoon winds that go vertically.
I guess I would imagine lightning wise, it probably would shut down. I think rain, it probably can still operate just because it has the cover. But lightning, obviously, you're still exposed a little bit, you know, for a little bit of time. And if lightning strikes that metal structure, that's not good for anybody. So I would imagine lightning would shut it down, but not just rain.
Do theme parks operate the same way sporting events do? Like, so if it's within like 8 miles is a 30-minute mandatory. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I learned that when I did my event in Universal about lightning and stuff like that. So.
Yep.
As it turns out, pretty crazy weather goes through Florida every now and then.
Yeah. Just every once in a while.
It's not that critical. It's like a mile. If it strikes within, a couple miles, 5 miles.
I think it's 5 miles away, something like that. Yeah.
Which is not so miles, kind of extreme, but
yeah. I'm super excited about Tron, but not anywhere near as excited as this next announcement that came out. Because obviously we've talked about this on the show. It went away, and I think it's safe to say it broke my soul when it went away.
Wow.
Real quick, I have another stupid question. Like, where did they announce this stuff? Like, it was just I saw the announcements, but was it a shareholder meeting, or was it it just willy-nilly announced?
Gosh, I think they really just dropped this on Twitter, right?
Yeah, I think like it broke. Like people got word of that Disney Parks was going to drop it, and like the big Disney bloggers were like, hey, this is coming out. And then obviously Disney Parks then officially put it out. I think the only thing Disney Parks put out first was actually that like code for Tron that had all the dates in it, like when Magic Kingdom opened. And, that was the only thing that Disney Park put out first, and then everything kind of just started dropping. So
because it was like a rumor thing at first.
Yeah,
Tron,
it was like rumors and then leaks, and then they were obviously like, well,
because the second high score was like it led to like March 23rd, 2023 or 20, I forget, but that turned out to be wrong. So I don't know. People read maybe the graphic designer to put it together should have chose like August or something, because that was a random date. I was like, and then when it turned out to be April, I was like, that was too specifically close to like a date in March for you to not I don't know. I thought that was weird. Like that. And what a perfect opportunity to put that Easter egg there like that, and they failed.
Yeah, and the way it broke down, like the actual date was like in a CLU, but that was split up throughout the whole 10 lines of stuff. And so like the C was April, the L was the 4th of April, and then the U was like 2023. So some person who has a hell of a lot more time than I do figured that out. So
they were good at math and science.
Are you guys surprised it's coming out April in the date it is? I was thinking June. Like
I thought it was going to be Memorial Day, because anytime Disney says spring of whatever year, just like with Guardians, I mean, you're looking at Memorial Day. So I'm like we talked about earlier, like April 4th seems random. Why didn't you open like a week earlier just to fit it in the 50th? And then, or why didn't you wait until Memorial Day? So April 4th seems very weird to me. I don't know if that starts like their next quarter. Maybe that's why that date is something, but it was very random.
I mean, you can't help but wonder, and this is obviously just a big wonder, but as Bob has replaced Bob, you can't help but wonder what those meetings were like, and if Imagineers are telling them, if he asked a specific question, well, when can it be ready? Right. And they said this, he was like, he may have just said, well, then that's when we're doing it. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if they were trying to get, they've had some challenging press lately, and it's like, and there's this piece of, I mean, I know it's still like really recent news, but it kind of felt like, yay, Iger was back. And that was what we celebrated for a while. There were like no changes, no announcements. It's like, he's back. Like, and I know it takes time and meetings and personnel and suits all have to get into a room and then they have to figure out scheduling and staffing. Like, I get all that, but it was just, I was kind of like, oh, like,
okay.
People got really excited for not a lot of movement. So I wonder, but I'm going to point some fingers here in a little while when we get to some later stories about where they had the opportunity to kind of move quickly with some things and didn't. But I don't want to be a hood ornament, so we'll leave it there. But Brandon, you were talking about something you were that what did it say? It stripped you of your soul?
Yeah. When it went away, obviously it stripped me of my soul. We know what a huge fan of nighttime spectaculars I am. And the thing that made me more excited than Tron, because obviously Tron, it's going to be awesome. It exists in the world, but April the 3rd, the day before Tron, the beloved, I dare say beloved, Happily Ever After fireworks show is returning to the Magic Kingdom.
Oh my gosh.
Like, this is probably the most exciting piece of news that came out of this cluster of news for me. As soon as I heard it, I went and booked my park pass for April the 3rd. I don't care how crowded it is. I don't care. I will be there to see the first show of Happily Ever After when it comes back.
Mind you could still sit in the porch swing in your backyard and watch it, but I get it. I get it. You want to be there.
I could see the fireworks, but I can't see everything else.
I didn't read the full article. I feel like there's going to be some changes, right? But it's going to be the base of the original
song
show.
And the story is going to be the same. So what I kind of imagine is it probably will start the same, right? And then they'll have the middle sections, what's going to be different. The movies, like the Pirates of the Caribbean section may be different. They're going to find some way to incorporate Frozen 2 from Enchantment, I think.
Encanto.
Encanto, some of those different things. But I think the bookends of the story, because it was so iconic and people loved it so much, I feel like the bookends are going to be the same.
Yeah. And I think I read that the projections on Main Street's going to be changed up, they said.
Yeah.
So,
will they include some of that?
Yeah, I think they're going to do the Main Street They're going to keep that from Enchantment, which is probably the only cool thing that came from Enchantment.
Was it though? Because it was really kind of like, I was kind of disappointed. I don't know. Like, why I say that is the first time I ever got to experience that was in Disneyland when they did the Mickey's like dance party. Like, do you guys know what I'm talking about? And like, so I stood halfway down Main, and like the projections that they put along the side of Main Street for that were 100 times better than what they did for what is Enchantment. I don't know, like, so I'm hoping they spice it up a little bit, because that Mickey's dance party thing was dope. It may even still be going on, I'm not sure, but yeah, that I thought that was like, so when I saw that at Enchantment, I was like, well, that really sucks compared to what I was expecting. Like, I mean, I think at one point, Brandon, you said it's not even worth, like, just go stand like you normally do in the hub. It's not even worth standing halfway down Main Street to see it.
Yeah. I mean, it was okay to see sometime at one time, but I mean, I wouldn't be like, I got to see the Main Street.
It didn't feel engrossing and all encompassing. Like, this is where you need to be to experience all of it. Like,
exactly. And I mean, you want your focus to be on the castle and the projections on the castle and the fireworks. Like, why do you want everyone to turn sideways and stare at the buildings that are a foot away from them? That never made sense to me, but I'm excited about the show. I can't wait. Awesome. The song, like, it makes you, to me, like, there's an emotional connection to Happily Ever After. Like, when I heard the first note, like the dun 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 dun, like, to me that was like it hit me. Like, Enchantment is nothing. Like, I'm like, all right, this thing's 17 minutes. How much longer do I have to wait? Like, ouch. I like the end of Enchantment. The last about 30 seconds is the only part I really like. And so yeah, I can't wait for Happily Ever After. I love the song. I think the song is awesome. It's cool that Jordan Fisher was so like into helping try to get it brought back. And I think it's one of those things they actually listened to the hardcore Disney fans. Like, we want this back. Like, we had an emotional connection to it. Please bring it back. And then, it finally ended up happening.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I mean, Wishes is what we had a huge connection to for so long, just because of the longevity that had. And I had mixed emotions, but um, I would say Happily Ever After had surpassed Wishes for me, which is crazy because like, what was it, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, or something, like Disneyland Paris did
they had
Wishes.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. So like, I'm glad that it's still kind of floating around. But yeah, of all of the things, you get excited, right? I mean, it was the 50th. We were there. This brand new show debuting, and it was a monster letdown. Like, I gotta say,
unfortunately.
but to some people, that's the only one they ever saw and ever know, and that could be their love, and they could be devastated. But it's okay to be wrong. Well, it's funny that you talk about Happily Ever After coming back, because multiple shows like Nighttime Spectaculars launched with the start of the 50th anniversary. And the other one came with pretty high marks from a lot of online personalities, just regular Disney and park attendees, and that is Harmonious, and that is now gone. Now, it's easy to understand why. Gone. So yeah, so that is I guess March 31st is the last show. Like, I haven't found anything solid. I just said with the coinciding with the end of the 50th, so I'm guessing that's the last show. I'm thankful that we have that Disney Live special. I mean, Disney Plus Live special, because to me, this is right up there. Not an emotional level, but as far as like impact and excitement and enjoyment, to me, mirrors Happily Ever After. That may be a bold statement, but it's hard to disagree with people about what they think about the lagoon in the daytime.
Yeah,
I understand
barges.
the why. I understand the why, but I think it is. Obviously, Disney's not going to tell you why, but in all of the renderings and in all of the, I mean, when they did what was the Epcot experience that was in like that ran forever? Yeah, it clearly showed that water was supposed to be coming during the day. They were water features, and that they did it like 4 or 5 times, like in all of. I think that would have made a tremendous difference of helping that stuff kind of disappear, or it became a daytime attraction. And I don't know why that didn't come to fruition. I'm guessing it was something didn't work as it was supposed to, right? I mean, that's the only thing. Or maybe it was just, wow, we realized that it cost $87 million a day to make that. I don't know. They're never going to tell us why, or maybe we'll find out in 20 years. But like, that's clearly the why behind it. And people are happy, and I get it, but I just think that show was dynamic. And the fact that Epcot Forever is temporarily replacing it, oh my gosh. That show, like, okay, I'm not going to hold. That show is horrific. It is so, like, the best part was the jet skis, and I don't even know, is that coming back? I don't even know.
I mean, you got to get those barges moved out of the lagoon. Like, it's pitch black, like running full speed on a jet ski into the side of a Stargate. It's not going to be good for anybody.
Well, maybe they'll teleport to somewhere. Rob, what do you think? I mean, you saw the show. I mean, it's mind blowing to me. Incredible music, incredible artistry.
I think you even filmed it, and you like the day before, like you sent it to me, and I watched it. And I'll be honest with you, I never was a huge fan of Harmonious, like on video. But I went down in June and I was with Corey Meets World, great YouTuber. He's like, we're gonna stay for Harmonious. He was live streaming. He's like, whatever you saw on YouTube, like, you have to see it in person. I really appreciate it. And he was 1,000% right. When I saw it in person, I was blown away. So you're not gonna miss it. The barges. I think the thing behind the barges and not I'm kind of on Twitter while we were talking here looking for more stuff. But someone did post the daytime waterfalls and everything. I think it was just so hated that maybe they said, let's not bring attention to the thing that everyone hates in the lagoon. Maybe that's why they didn't do the fountains. But I don't know. miss it. What is going to be eventually replaced? What are they going to?
I know the rumor is, or maybe it's a fact. I don't. The rumor is something like a whole new show for the
a whole
100th.
new show. Yeah,
Yeah.
For
So I'm guessing it's going to be, and that's fine. Like it doesn't look. I think it's safe to say, right? And I want you guys to chime in on this. I think it's safe to say that these long-running nighttime attractions are a thing of the past. Now, that being said, Harmonious was meant to be a long-running attraction, but it's not happening, and that's fine. But I mean, we saw it with Wishes was here for 20 plus years or almost 20 years, whatever it was, and then Happily Ever After was a good chunk, but then that went away. But now it's coming back, but it'll be a little bit different. So I think, in my opinion, I think that like maybe it's just going to be a couple of 3 years here, a couple of 3 years, and they just keep changing, which I think is great. I mean, I like it gives the like creative people to chime in and like make amazing things to wow guests, and us lifers that like to go and see the same thing every time, it'll be a new experience more often. So I mean, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, going back to what Rob said about, and you guys were talking about the barges, like I may be in the minority here, but my day at Epcot was not made or broken by the fact that there was stuff in the middle of the lagoon. Like
Right.
That didn't bother me. I didn't say, oh man, this World Showcase is awesome, but it would be super awesome if that thing wasn't sitting out there. So I thought the show
40 years without it.
I thought the show was special enough that like I could overlook the stuff in the lagoon.
Yeah.
To me, it was one of my favorite shows that Disney has ever done. And like Rob said, like you have to see it in person. We watched it when we went down for the 50th. We watched like the very first broadcast of all the streamers. And we sat in the room at Pop Century and we destroyed the show.
Absolutely.
We said, this looks like the worst thing that I have ever seen. And we went and saw it the next night in person, and it was unbelievable. So I'm super sad that it's going away, but I agree with you. I think especially at Epcot, the long running 5-6 year shows, they're going to be a thing of the past. Yeah. They're not going to bring big set pieces in anymore. They're going to do something that can be switched out depending on what they're celebrating, because Disney's always celebrating something, whether it's the 100th, then it'll be the X amount of years for Epcot that they'll come up with a new show. So 50. I think especially at Epcot, Magic Kingdom's more, it's easier to put a long running show at Magic Kingdom because that's associated with the Magic Kingdom, right? Yeah. At Epcot, the culture is always changing. So it's easy to switch up the show and make it something different. So I think, we'll get this new thing for the 100th. And then after that's over, we'll pivot to something else after that.
Yeah. I like change. I'm not upset with it. Maybe we haven't seen the end of the barges. Maybe they'll retire them, or they'll modify them, or change them, or something. I don't know. I love. I was thinking back that they had the daytime show. That was kind of cool with the flying. I don't know, Mickey's flying around on these little planes and everything. That was kind of cool. Daytime fireworks. Come on, that was nice. Crazy.
Maybe they'll bring kite tails for the daytime.
Oh, you said the K word. Jeez. Wow. They had the blobes around the lagoon. Who knows what they'll do? I'd love to see, more of a what they do in California Adventure, that kind of the World of Color show there. That would be
that's what I was hoping that it would be.
Or bringing maybe drones or something into Epcot. Drones is so big in Disneyland Paris. I would love to see a drone show.
I know, like that. That's coming for their 30th, isn't it? Yeah. They're doing something special for that. Yeah,
definitely. But I don't know. My welcome change. Like I said, the show was great. I loved seeing it in person more than. And I remember it was funny, Brendan. You brought that up, but I specifically remember Dave telling me how much you guys bashed it that night. It's funny that you brought it up.
Yeah, we destroyed that show. Like we were like, this is going to be the most horrible thing ever, and it was amazing. So
my mind was blown. But like one thing that you don't have with a lot of other shows is it will potentially, until they pull it, forever be on Disney Plus. So if you don't have it, you can see it there. That's about. That's better than being there because all the musicians and the singers I didn't love that live.
Special. You didn't like it, Rob?
I just wish it was the show. I just, I don't know. They didn't really show much of the show. They showed more of the musicians. And I felt, but that's me. But it's
that's fair. That is fair.
That is a fair observation. That's right.
Okay, so kind of the big three. So they really announced some resort specific things. Well, I should like Disneyland Resort and Walt Disney World Resort encompassing. of three really kind of new changes that are coming. I want to be careful of how to say this because I'm hopeful that this isn't all of the stuff that's coming. We're not going to really focus on Disneyland, like I said, but Walt Disney World, Disney Parks panel or whatever, Disney Parks blog, put three on there just a couple days ago, maybe yesterday. And one of them has already happened. So we'll go through these in the order that they were on their site. And the title of the article was 3 changes Walt Disney World is making to bring more value and flexibility to your visits. Okay. Number 1, on January 10th, which for us was yesterday, Disney re-added, I don't know why I wrote that, re-added complimentary parking of your personal vehicle to all Walt Disney World resorts. Like, this is a magical moment. I mean, I say that with sarcasm. This 100% was a cash grab. 100%.
100%.
I think somebody who stayed at a lot of value resorts specifically, those parking lots are gargantuan, and even when they were busy, there was hundreds of empty spots.
Yeah. And I think this also comes with an asterisk, right? Because it sounds good. It's like a feel good thing. It's part of the magic. Like, obviously, if you drive to Disney, okay, I don't have to stay to park. But to me, it just feels like they're going to increase the nightly price of the room and tell you that you get complimentary parking. Kind of just like they do.
Resort fee.
Yeah, it's going to be in your resort. I think just taking it away in name only makes the masses happy, right? But I feel like Disney's not in the business to lose money, right? So if this was making them money, they're going to find another way to do it. Yeah. But it's a good show of faith, right? Like we love our people. We want you to stay on property, and we slowly took away all the benefits of staying on property. So here's something we can give back to you to entice you to come back to property.
Yeah.
It pissed a lot of people off.
Yeah, I was
a lot of people
pretty outraged. I mean, just because it wasn't like, now here's where this comes from. This is not an abnormal thing. Like, I mean, I'm going to give Disney credit that like, this is not something that is like foreign to like Disney, only Disney does it. But where you typically see this is in cities where every parking space is like a premium, right? Because there's just not space. And one thing that Walt Disney World benefits than any other of their parks globally is the amount of space that they have. So like, I get it, like Brandon grew up in Maryland, and we had several times where we went to Baltimore for games or whatever. And like, when you go and stay at like those hotels, it's like parking's at a premium. I mean, there's no wide parking lots, they stack them, right? And so for them to, hey, if you're going to bring your car here, we've got a metro system, you don't need a vehicle. If you're going to bring your car here, well, unfortunately we have to charge you to park to try to keep people. Well, that just isn't an issue for Disney. There's more parking spaces than rooms. I'm just going to throw that out there. And the last time I checked, every family member is not staying in an individual room. So I think we're good. So yeah, that was my problem with it. Like, it kind of went along with what other hotels in other major cities, and it doesn't have to be a major city. I'm sure there's podunk areas that they just charge a park because it's a way for the hotel to get more money. So the asterisk on that for me is that was just another way for Disney to get more money. And so I think this brings back another great perk. As somebody who almost always rents a vehicle when they come to Disney, like, this entices me more to now save my $25 a day to stay on property.
Yeah.
I bet you they're going to be like strict about showing like you're staying at a hotel, like a pass or something, or like a bus pass, or like I always like someone just doesn't park at a resort, take the bus and save that $25.
That's what we were talking about. Like, are they going to be a little more strict? Like, hey, I'm going to visit a friend at this hotel, and usually they're like, okay, just come in and park, whatever. Are they going to be more? Now, they weren't really that strict about it before COVID. Aside from the holiday times or the spring break times. So hopefully they're not, but I could, the monorail resorts and things like that, I could see it still being a bit of a problem to park there. But yeah, it always rubbed me the wrong way. We went there on vacation. We lived here and we met our friends and went and stayed on property like 8 minutes away from my house, and I had to pay $15 a night to park my car there.
Crazy.
So like it rubbed me the wrong way. So I mean, staycation, and I have to pay to park I could have left it in my driveway and Ubered there and met them.
Exactly.
Like so it's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's a goodwill to the people.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
We'll see.
This next one, I'm super excited about when I get the opportunity to have this again. But I think this is a big deal. I think this is a huge step in the right direction. I'm hoping it's a first step and we grow from this. But number two, annual pass holders will be able to enter parks after 2 p.m. on weekdays. So first asterisk,
but no reservations. That's
no reservations.
Yeah, with no. Sorry, yeah.
You don't have that.
Forgot the key word.
And pass holders can come to the park. Woohoo!
I think this is huge. Like Brandon, you were immediately the person that I thought of, because
100%.
How many times do you have friends that come and visit you, and on a weeknight after work, you just can't skedaddle on over there? It's a nightmare, and because all your friends are coming when the parks are packed, aka summertime, spring breaks, fall breaks, whatever, and you couldn't get in as a pass holder. Now that's relevant for you on a weeknight, which I think is great. That I'm sure that will entice you guys to go even
100%.
more, because there's no more stupid headache of trying to figure that out.
Yeah, I mean 100%. I mean, before the whole reservation system, there was nothing better than 4 o'clock. I would text Krista and be like, "Hey, you want to go to Animal Kingdom tonight?" Sure.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I'll pick you up on the way home, and we'll just head over there. And for the 2 hours before it closes, you didn't have to worry about. All right, let me jump on there. Let me make a park reservation for both of us. Now it's just go. And the great thing is that it's all the parks, right? Except for Magic Kingdom on the weekends. So I don't really go to Magic Kingdom a lot anyway, just because it's such a pain to get into. Yep. So this doesn't really affect me that much, because I can go to any other park after 2 o'clock without worrying about anything. So for an annual pass holder who lives locally, this is a huge step in the right direction.
Yeah. Now I will break it down, because I've only had a traditional annual pass. I know, Brandon, that's all you've ever had, even though you live there. But the one thing that it's important to, like, some of the fine print to talk about, if you are a Florida pass holder, like, all of your blackout dates are still going to apply. You can't just be like, oh yay, we can just go anytime after 2 on weekdays, and no, that's still going to apply. And then really the elephant in the room, which I'm going to harp on, Brandon and I talked about this briefly before the show, is it said, and I quote, that this will happen beginning in the next few months. What? What?
Yeah, I don't get that.
Like, nothing changed. Like, this isn't like, you don't have to print out a special pass and laminate it. You no money has to exchange hands for that. I don't understand why this couldn't immediately have been implemented. Then I decided to zoom out a little bit. One of the things Brandon and I talked about, I said, okay, let's talk about scheduling, right? I mean, they don't know what to expect and how much more people could potentially come to the park. But I was telling Brandon, I worked at Apple, and that was before I had my career where I was just salary, and the schedule was 3 weeks in advance. So, okay, when they made this announcement, why couldn't they say in a month and given a date? Right. In the next few months, that could be summer. Now, Brandon was like, I think it'll happen in February, which I hope. But to me, when I read that, I'm all like, what? To me, I was like, they just announced this for people to be like, finally. But my question is, when is the finally?
Exactly. When and Disney's famous for this, right? They're very good at being vague, right? They get excited, they get people excited about vagueness. We saw it at D23, all these whiteboard ideas and blue sky ideas, and everyone went crazy for them, but it was just nothing but vagueness. Yeah. So Disney is masterful at this. We talked about, I think it's going to be sooner rather than later. Like we said, it doesn't involve inventing a whole new IT system. It doesn't you just say it starts today. They started parking immediately. The story came out, they hit the button that said, don't charge them for parking anymore. It's the same thing. Starting next week after 2. And again, most pass holders are outside of Florida. right? So it's not like if they said, hey, we're going to do this next week, that 90% of their pass holders are going to take a vacation to Florida to come after 2 p.m. to the parks. Like, it's not going to be that much of an influx of people because you got your blackouts and then you still got out-of-state pass holders. So yeah, we were laughing about it, just saying like, why the vagueness? Just say March 1st. I mean, I could see this coinciding after the 50th because they're still, like Rob said, they're still
that makes sense to me,
playing those commercials to come experience the magic that's not really different than the magic of any other day at Walt Disney World. So I could see these going into
2023 for the 2022 anymore.
I mean, we're now in the 57th year of the 50th anniversary.
I hope they've started planning the 60th because it's right around the corner.
But I can see this happening.
You're not a pass holder.
Yeah,
Rob, I know you're not a pass holder, but like this is a great move by Iger and DeMauro, right? I mean, this is just like, I'm not a pass holder and I'm excited.
Yeah, I picture like the dust cleared. Iger came in and saying, all right, what's the 3 biggest gripes that you guys have? Let's fix them. Let's just do those 3 biggest gripes. Let's fix them. You know, so yeah, I'm just happy for my season pass friends. You know, they're just, you know, I couldn't get a reservation or what, you know, this or that.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I mean, think about that. Like when you were in town doing your stuff with Universal, right? I mean, like imagine if you had vlogger friends that you couldn't see because they couldn't get a freaking reservation. I mean, it takes that. Look, we all know that when it comes to a Disney vacation, like there's a whole lot less of that free spirit, like, you know, like fly by the seat of your pants. I mean, I had kind of figured it out, like pre-pandemic, kind of figured out how to kind of be able to do that and not like going as often as I did. I'm like, we're not gonna plan anything today. I just want to go and hang out. Well, now with like Genie Plus and paid this and new apps and no park, like it's so much like you have to play. There's no more spontaneity, at least not to the level that it was. I mean, certainly in the park, you know, once you go through all your Genie Plus and the next one's not for another 4.5 hours, you obviously got to figure out how to fill your time somewhere. But I'm just thankful that, because in my opinion, I think this is a step in the right direction. Like this is step 1 of getting rid of that 2 o'clock and opening up to everybody somewhere down the road, right? You have to believe that this is the first one of, okay, we're going to begin to relax all of these pandemic, you know, policies that were here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think the reservation system will go away at some point?
Nope, never, ever.
No,
never.
Yeah. We've talked about this a couple times. I don't think that that's ever going to go away because, I mean, we've all worked at specific jobs, right? And it's easy to send people home, right? So if you know how many people are going to be at the park to start the day, you can staff accordingly. And then if people leave your park, you can say, all right, who wants to go home? So, you know, it happens in the restaurant business all the time. Like, hey, it's Friday night. It's going to be super busy. We're throwing everybody on the floor tonight. And then if it ends up being dead by 9 o'clock, people go home. So I don't think it's ever going to go away. It still helps with staffing. And they still need to know at the beginning of the day what the plan is as far as guests and employees. But yeah, I mean, it's really, aside from the popular times when a new attraction comes out or a holiday, like it's not hard to get a reservation. It's just, I wish they would make it less cumbersome. Like now in the app, you go in the app, you click make a park reservation, it kicks you out to the web. Then you got to sign into the web and then you got to make it, like, it's still very clunky. That's the only gripe that I have about it. So I don't think it's going anywhere, but it's going to be less and less important to the guest.
My only hope is that, because, you know, like we haven't talked about this in a long time. There are still, like, I'm going to mess up the term. Like the parks are not at full capacity yet.
Correct. There's still capacity limits. Yeah.
They're like, you know, I know it probably doesn't seem like that, but they definitely are. And that's clearly a staffing thing. But 2, my hope is when all of these things get like, I don't know, 5 years from now, when the parks are, I'll throw up air quotes, to as normal as they can be pre-pandemic. I think that it's hopefully just going to be, you have to make a reservation, but it's not like you're not going to run into the issue of, the park is full, except for like these special occasions, like you talked about, new attractions, holidays, right? Or holiday week. I'm hopeful that because that will just what it should be is say, hey, I'm coming today, Disney. That's where it needs to get to. Right now, it's not, hey, I want to come this day and I hope I can get in. It needs to transition to, I'm letting you know I'm showing up this day, which I don't have a problem with. But, you know, I mean, like right now, if you are an annual pass holder, and Brandon, I saw that you did, April 4th is full for Magic Kingdom. You cannot. So if you have not made a reservation for April 4th to try to get in there to try to do Tron, you're not getting in. It's full. It's at capacity for pass holders. So that is worth kind of talking. So that's what my hope is. But again, I don't think it's going away because it gives too much measurable information to businesses like Disney. And two, I'm cautiously optimistic for the next 3 years to see where we're at in 36 months, and hopefully that gets relaxed. Okay, long in the tooth. Oh, gosh, we're going to go over an hour. Number three. This one is kind of. No, I'm going to say what it is. This one's great. I think this is. I'm just going to say it. So if you purchase Genie Plus, you will receive ride photos at no additional charge. I think this is a huge win, right? Because
what is the cost now for the additional charge for photos?
Well, if you want to get the memory maker, it's what, $100,
199 maybe?
Yeah, something like that. It's something crazy. Maybe it's cheaper for like the week that you're there or the day. No, I don't even know how it works. I only know that a pass holder cost. But yeah, it was $169 forever. I don't know if it's gone up since then, but yeah, it was never included. So you're paying like Genie Plus, and then you go like, oh, here's my ride photo, and it's got the letters all the way, the words all the way across. And so now, if you pay for a Genie Plus for that specific attraction, you will get your ride photo.
Oh, it's just for the attraction.
Okay. Yeah. So I think this is great, but again, I'm going to give them a little bit more leniency on this one. But again, the fine print. Beginning in the next few months. Now, I will say there has to be a little bit of code changes for this, right? Because they have to know who, so somebody has to manually go in and change that. And so, but again, it's probably a couple of lines of code, and voila, we're there. But so now let's just call it what it is. We'll push back from the table. And I will say a lot of this was people were probably feeling like me, okay, Iger's back, but nothing's happening. No, why aren't they saying anything? And so they found, a few things for us and a few things for Disneyland Resort, which are all fantastic changes. But unfortunately, other than the parking, the rest of them are just vague. Now, fingers crossed that we'll just get through the 50th so they can continue to make whatever extra money that they wanted to through that celebration. So I'm hopeful that the beginning of April, and I'll talk about why I'm hopeful for that, but I'm hopeful the beginning of April, once we transition out of the 50th and some new things open, that this kind of stuff will be implemented fairly quickly versus, because again, like I said, it is January 11th today. 3 months from now is what? Middle of April. So that's technically after the 50th, but like, what is few months? Like, that drives me crazy. The vagueness of it. To me, September's in a few months. I don't know.
Are they doing anything for the Disney 100 and Disney World? I don't think they really are they?
Yeah. I don't know that they haven't talked about it, and I wonder if it's just like, I think it's if I was a business owner, I would want to downplay it as much until April. Really, to try to get all of that revenue that I could from their 50th anniversary. But yeah, I'm fairly certain that the Epcot show will have a lot to do with the 100th. But I don't. Sorry if you hear that jet noise. We live really close to a master jet base, Sound of Freedom. Nothing that I remember when they talked about all this kind of thing. Matthew and I are actually going to go. Rob, how far is it for Philly for you?
Yeah, I want to go. If you guys go, let me know.
Yeah, we're going to go. So if I would love to coordinate that with you.
It's like an hour and a half or whatever.
Oh, easy day. Yeah, well, I think we might take the train up there and do that. That'd be cool.
Heck yeah, I want to go. So let me know. I want to vlog.
Okay, so to wrap this puppy up, I think that's a great change. I'm excited about these three things, especially for our Walt Disney World Resort. Hopefully, like Brandon said, they're sooner than later. But I will say why I'm hopeful is, as much as I've been joking about not being at Disney World since October 1st of 2021. Was that 2021? Holy crap.
Yeah.
We are finally going to Florida. Now, it's really, we're going to sneak Disney in there, but my co-host and partner in crime had a baby almost 6 months ago, and we have not seen that beautiful thing. So we rented a big house with a pool, and we're going to go stay and spend a spring break with my brother and his wife and his baby, and we're going to go to Disney. And what's great is everybody's coming. And I know Brandon and I have talked about this so many times. My wife hasn't been there since they opened. Like, she hasn't seen Pandora, Rob.
Wow.
She is not seen. That's how long it has been since she's been there. So it'll be a whole new world, literally, for her.
It's great. Yeah.
So
It's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
Finally going back. Rob.
Yes.
Man.
Rob.
Thanks for having me.
So thankful.
Happy anniversary.
Yes.
Very cool.
Thanks.
I'm glad you came in a week where there was tons of Disney news.
Yeah, there was tons of stuff to talk about. I feel like this episode, we were not like the Statler or Waldorf of Disney people. We were actually like excited about stuff. It was not like grumpy old men talk about Disney.
Yeah. So sweeping huge changes, which I think will just lead to more changes. Yeah. Rob, youtube.com/RobFuz.
Yeah.
Go there for all of your retro rides, but also some new
also
ones.
some 4K rides.
Yes.
Yeah, and I do a live show for random Fridays. I do a live show too. We have a pub talk. You guys are
yes.
I do
Nice.
some live
Yes.
stuff.
Everybody tune in. It's awesome.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate
We
it.
love some.
I need to have you guys back on. I was thinking about that today.
Yes. Well, you invited me to pop in a couple weeks ago, and it just didn't work out over the holidays. We were so much going on, but yeah, I love that. Anytime I can sit around and drink, it'd be fantastic.
Thanks, guys.
Guys, go check out Rob's channel. It's truly amazing. We'll be on January 29th. We'll be on Pete McDevitt's show, which is the spicier version where they ask all of these.
I was on it twice, so the second time wasn't
what's
as
a good way to
easier.
explain it? Adult-oriented questions. It's not language. It's not profanity, but it's definitely
Hot
18
seat.
and up. It's the hot seat. Yeah,
Like it. Can't
so
wait.
that's going to be. I think that's the 29th. We'll send everybody the link and remind them of when we'll do that. But if you don't know Pete, youtube.com/Pete McDevitt, you gotta it's great. He is a huge supporter of all things Disney, all like especially on
All
YouTube, Disney
podcast.
creators. Yeah,
Definitely.
Rob, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for coming out, guys.
Thanks for squeezing us in, Rob.
It's been quiet. It was really quiet the first week, and all of a sudden, it got crazy this week. So I've just been slammed. So, but thank you so much, guys. I want to come back more if I can. So
yeah,
please,
we'd love
to
to be
have you.
anytime.
thank you, guys.
You add so much. You add a calm, collective experience to our show.
He's like, these idiots are ranting, and then Rob's like, I think all these are good changes.
Yes, do these guys even like Disney? Okay.
All right.
Thank you again, brother.
Thanks, guys.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Bicycle.
Peace.